Hello, my name is Keith Bergman, and this is Dice Rack for the TI-99 4A home computer. It's a new game that I created this month, and I'm going to play it and show you the game, give you a little walkthrough. It's written in the Extended Basic language. I wrote it on the Classic 99 emulator, and it should run on any stock TI-99 4A system with 32K memory expansion and Extended Basic. Dice Rack is sort of a sequel to a game I made a while back called Dice Crash. The Dice Rack, here comes the title screen. The Dice Rack is a 5x5 grid where dice are dropped down one at a time. There are 25 dice total, and you arrange them as much as you can. You're trying to build hands vertically to build a score, to reach a certain goal. And when you don't have a lot of control, though, over the placement of the dice. You're only able to move them over one column at a time per dice falling. Like you can't, I'll show you here. Okay, here comes the dice rack itself. A little fanfare. And the dealer, the messages you get are from the dealer who is trying to beat you, sort of your opponent in the game. All right, there you see the first dice is about to fall into the rack. You can move one space over left or right. You can wrap around the other side, but only one space. So we moved one space to the right, and then it asks, do we want to open a gate? If we say yes, these letters appear on the screen. There are 20 gates that you can open. So we're going to hit the letter B to open that gate, and when we do, you'll see that a little space will form, so that when that dice falls, it goes down a row further than it normally would. So the gate opens, and then the dice falls. You can't stop the dice from falling. Now you see it shows you the next one there was the 3, and then it shows you there's a 1 coming up after that. So there again, you have to decide, do you want to move to the left or the right or keep it in the same place? You did not open the gate that time, so it stayed on the first row of the dice rack. Now as you can see, things would get jammed up pretty quickly if you didn't start opening gates. So we're opening that gate. 3 will fall down, and then the 1 has a place to go. Now you're trying to build hands similar to draw poker or Yahtzee. You're trying to build straights, full houses, 3, 4, 5 of a kind. There are small straights. All of these have varying point levels. And you're trying to get to a goal. As you can see in the bottom right there, your goal is 101 points. So you get all the points for any hands that you score vertically in your 5x5 grid. Now, the trick is the computer also that keeps track of your scores horizontally and subtracts those. So you have to build the best hands you can vertically while not trying to build hands horizontally. And that gets a little tricky. You can inadvertently set yourself up where you lose a lot of the points you gained by building a full house going across. It's actually easier to build hands across than down, but those hands will actually cost you. So as you can see there, in the middle row, we now have 3 1s. So 3 of a kind will score you more than a pair, or more than 2 pairs. 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind, very lucrative as well. Now, we're moving over. You want to really be careful, since you can only move 1 per turn. If you end up filling up a couple rows, it's hard to get over to a place on the next dice where you can actually drop a dice. So you've always got to be thinking a couple steps ahead of where you're going to put those dice. How you're going to keep opening those gates and making space. So there, that one's going to drop. And we're filling everything in. We've got a pair in the second column. We've got a 2, 5. Straights are usually the easiest thing to try to build if you're trying to build a particular hand. Or if you get a few dice in a row, sometimes you can start building up a 3, 4, 5 of a kind. Now, as the rack starts to fill up, you run into another problem. You can't actually fill the rack all the way up. There's 25 spaces, and you have 25 dice, but you run into a little problem. When you fill a column entirely with 5 dice, all the gates are open, and all 5 spaces are full, it will actually, you're about to see it happen here. The bottom will actually open up. So that middle column is full. You can hear a little sound. And the bottom opens up. The bottommost dice falls into the red row. Now that is going to add to your goal times 2 of what the dice is. So that 3 fell into the red row. That added 6 points to your goal. So that 3 is no longer in play. That doesn't count as part of that hand anymore. But it does add to your goal, makes it a little bit harder for you to achieve. So it's tricky to try, and you're going to end up dropping a few dice. There's no way to not drop dice down into the hole. So you have to plan for that. You have to try to be as strategic as you can. And sometimes it can be difficult. Now there goes those. Now you have a pair of 6s in the 5th column. Got a 3 going up. Now what we would do here, we move it over there and we drop it into column 4. There's a space for it on top, but the same thing's going to happen. That bottom 5 is going to fall down into the red row. But if you'll notice, we lose the 5. It's going to add 10 points to our goal. But now we have a 2, 3, 4, 5. Not only is that a small straight, which is worth points, but now we can drop a 1 on it and have a large straight, which is a pretty good amount of points, as is 5 of a kind. Even 1s. This is a game where point values will, like 5 1s is worth something, but 5 6s, the face value of the dice in your pairs, 3s of a kind, 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind, those the face value means something. It's important. So, you know, there's, like with any dice game, a lot of luck involved in what dice you actually get rolled. You got a 6 6 5 here, might be a way to build a full house. Now, I forgot to mention a little bit ago, we closed gate B. The one when we didn't have other things. There's not a ton of times when you want to close a gate, but it might be a way if you're going to try to preserve a hand. You're going to try to preserve a hand without giving your opponent a hand or giving the dealer a hand horizontally. Like if you wanted to drop those 2 6s down, you could open the gate on row 3. The 2 would stay up top, and maybe it would, you know, it's not. There wasn't a good example in this particular hand of that, but you can open and close the gates, 1 per turn. So now we're getting up. We're at dice number 22. So we're filling this thing up. So we'll show you real quick. Now we got a 4, 5, 6 over there. But another 4 coming up isn't going to help us. It's not going to help us get you know, that's dice number 23. There's another 4 coming up. We're probably not going to get a straight. Now we move over there. We don't open that gate. Boom, the dice fell out of the rack. You see it's over on the right-hand side of the screen now. That dice now adds 3 times its face value to the goal. So now our goal is 129 points. So you want to make sure that you've got space to drop your dice and you don't end up in a position where you're stuck somewhere and you can't move it. Although sometimes strategically, maybe preserving a hand that you have, not opening the gate at the bottom and dropping one of the dice out so it's not part of your point value anymore. Sometimes there would be a strategic reason to do that. But things get a little jammed up toward the very end here. All right, so this is our last dice. The 5 is going to be dice number 25. So we're going to drop that. And that's going to make the bottom open up. We're going to add a 6, which is going to add 12 more points. Our goal is now 141 points. But we gave ourselves 2 pairs over there. Now, I won't break down the scores in this video, but I will tell you 2 pairs gives you double the score, the face value. So that was 36 points there. Got a pair for this pair of 6s. 5 of a kind was 50, and a straight was 50. 3 6s was a nice 54 points. So we got a lot of points racked up. But now it's going to tally the horizontal scores and subtract those. Only 2 points there. I think we did pretty good there. And then nothing in those bottom 2 rows. So we lost 52 of our points. But we made 202. 150, our goal was 141. So even with the extra dice that fell into the red row, we won the game with 150 points. Now, you can play another round, and it will add to your score. You can build a cumulative score and see how far you get, or you can just play 1 round. So the screen will clear. You'll set the dice rack back up. It's not a really cumulative game. If you play more than 1 hand, more than one round, it will actually increase the goal a little bit. Like this time, the goal is 119 to start with, and then of course, by the time you drop a couple dice in, it's going to increase as they fall into the red row or fall out of the rack. So that's basically it. That's Dice Rack. It is the sequel to Dice Crash. You can find it at orphantech.com. Download it for the TI-99 4A. And there's information on the Facebook TI-99ers group. There'll be information on the AtariAge.com forums. And as always, thanks for watching. My name is Keith Bergman for orphantech.com, and I hope you enjoy the game.